First and foremost, let's wrestle with the colossal, fire-breathing, performance-sucking behemoth in the room, the actual real-world performance. Intel marketed this launch as a revolutionary leap forward, a paradigm shift so significant that it would redefine the very fabric of mobile computing. And naturally, as any responsible and slightly obsessive tech reviewer would do, I had to get my hands dirty. I grappled with the Core Ultra 9, the 7, and even the Humble 5, pushing them to the absolute limits of their silicon-based existence. I subjected myself to what felt like an eternity of YouTube benchmark marathons. My brain is still trying to process all the graphs and frame rate counters. And the final, painstakingly derived conclusion? It's complicated, like a reality TV relationship. Yes, the power efficiency is genuinely commendable, and the thermal performance is undeniably impressive. You can finally use your laptop on your lap without risking third-degree burns. But let's be brutally honest with ourselves, shall we? The gaming performance is about as thrilling as watching grass grow in slow motion, narrated by a monotone robot. Folks, we're not talking about minor incremental improvements here. We're talking about a tangible, measurable performance decline compared to the preceding generation. I mean, when a brand new CPU makes you pine for the good old days of your previous rig, you know something has gone catastrophically wrong. We're not merely trailing behind AMD's Ryzen 9000 series. We're practically sending them postcards from the back of the pack. In the fiercely competitive, gladiatorial arena of PC building, gaming benchmarks reign supreme. They influence perceptions, dictate purchasing decisions, and ultimately, determine whether a processor is crowned king or relegated to the bargain bin. And right now, Intel Ultra is stumbling, fumbling, and generally making a spectacle of itself on the performance battlefield. Gamers are being asked to shell out a premium price for decidedly subpar frame rates, and that's a marketing message that's about as enticing as a free root canal. And keep in mind, these gaming benchmarks are often the first thing potential customers see in reviews. It's like meeting someone for the first time, and they immediately spill coffee all over your favorite shirt. Not a great start. Which leads us quite nicely to my second point, the crushing, suffocating weight of expectation, the kind that could flatten a skyscraper. Let's rewind the clock to the turbulent era of the Intel 13th and 14th generations. Recall the infamous sudden death syndrome, the seemingly random and inexplicable hardware failures that turned expensive CPUs into glorified paperweights. And let's not forget the insatiable power demands, which necessitated elaborate and ridiculously expensive cooling solutions that resembled miniature nuclear reactors. It was a dark and turbulent period in Intel's history, a time of uncertainty and expensive electricity bills. Then, as if summoned by the CPU gods themselves, AMD's Ryzen 7000 and 9000 series swaggered onto the scene, flexing their multi-core muscle and leaving many to ponder whether Intel had quietly packed up their bags and abandoned the CPU market entirely. Consequently, the entire PC building community, myself included, placed their collective hopes and dreams, their technological aspirations, squarely on the, hopefully broad, shoulders of the Core Ultra. We desperately craved a phoenix from the ashes narrative, a triumphant return, a processor that could go toe-to-toe with AMD and rectify the perceived missteps of Intel's recent past. And to be fair, Intel did address the power consumption and stability issues. But in doing so, they inadvertently neutered the performance, the very attribute that fuels the passions of gamers, content creators, and pretty much anyone who uses a computer for anything other than checking email. It's like treating a broken leg by amputating the entire body, technically solving the problem, but leaving the patient in a rather unfortunate predicament. We were promised a superhero with laser vision and the power of flight, and what we got was a slightly more energy-efficient sidekick who's afraid of heights and allergic to cats. The higher the expectation, the more spectacularly painful the letdown. And this particular fall has reverberated across the entire tech industry, leaving a trail of disappointed consumers in its wake. And last, but certainly not least, let's address the financial black hole that's currently threatening to swallow our entire savings accounts whole: the utterly, breathtakingly, and unashamedly exorbitant price. Intel Ultra is, without a shadow of a doubt, not a budget-friendly option. We're talking about price points that rival AMD's top-of-the-line enthusiast-grade Ryzen 9000 series processors. Now, consumers are already expressing concerns about the overall value proposition of the Ryzen 9000 series. So, expecting them to enthusiastically embrace the Ultra, especially given its aforementioned performance hiccups, is a marketing strategy that's about as sound as investing in a company run by a flock of pigeons. You can extract far more performance per dollar from the older, slightly less glamorous Ryzen 7000 series chips, or even the tried-and-true 13th and 14th generation Intel CPUs. It's akin to choosing between a bespoke suit tailored from unicorn hair and a perfectly functional, high-quality suit from a reputable department store. Both will make you look presentable, but one will leave you eating ramen for the next 6 months. But wait. The financial nightmare doesn't end there. The motherboards. Just uttering the word motherboards sends shivers down my spine, causes my bank account to spontaneously combust, and makes me question my entire life choices. Prepare for a financial beatdown of epic proportions because you're about to stumble into a dystopian reality where silicon meets organized crime in a dark and smoky alley. We're talking about B850 motherboards. And remember, these are mid-range boards designed for everyday users that command prices that exceed those of high-end, enthusiast-grade AMD motherboards. It's daylight robbery, plain and simple. What sane and rational human being would willingly liquidate their assets to purchase a run-of-the-mill motherboard when they could assemble a demonstrably superior, high-performance AMD-based system for the exact same price? Mating a mid-tier Ultra processor with an outrageously overpriced motherboard is akin to serving caviar on a paper plate. It's a complete mismatch of class and value. And let's not overlook the inescapable DDR5 RAM tax, which looms over the horizon like a dark and ominous cloud. Yes, it's the shiny new standard, the must-have component for any self-respecting PC build. But it's also a certified budget wrecker, relentlessly draining the funds from your already depleted wallet. Sticking with older platforms such as the 13th and 14th generations enables you to keep the more affordable DDR4 memory, saving you hundreds of dollars in the process. It's a subtle detail, but it represents yet another agonizing paper cut to your already hemorrhaging finances. So, my fellow tech enthusiasts and digital pioneers, there you have it, the unvarnished truth, the hard-hitting facts, and the unflinching analysis of why Intel's Core Ultra processors are currently gathering dust on retail shelves, experiencing the sales equivalent of being a contestant on a dating show who gets rejected before they even open their mouth. We're talking about performance that leaves much to be desired, expectations that were inflated to the point of absurdity, and a price point that triggers involuntary financial weeping and a deep existential crisis. The Intel Ultra might be a perfectly acceptable processor in an isolated laboratory setting, but within the intensely competitive and unforgiving ecosystem of today's PC market, it simply lacks the compelling features, the irresistible value, and the overall wow factor necessary to win over the hearts and minds of consumers. It's like bringing a spork to a 5-course meal. Technically, you can use it, but you're not going to have a very enjoyable experience.
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell to the later update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end and see you in the next video.